let's talk about something that sounds like science fiction, but unfortunately, it is already sitting at the conference table with a laptop and a name badge. AI agents, not just chatbots that answer questions. I'm talking about AI systems that can take action. They can read emails, access files, write code, trigger workflows, make decisions, and in some cases, operate with very little human supervision. Now that sounds powerful, and it is. But here's the question that keeps tapping me on the shoulder. What happens when the agent gets it wrong? Not because it is evil, not because it woke up and chose chaos before coffee, but because it was confused, manipulated, or given too much access too soon. A recent research paper called Agents of Chaos tested autonomous AI agents. And baby, the results were not giving ready for prime time. They were giving maybe we need a few more guardrails before we hand this thing the keys to the building. In the study, researchers gave AI agents real tools, not imaginary tools, real access. They gave them access to email, files, code execution, communication channels, and persistent memory. In plain English, these agents were not just answering questions. They were moving around inside systems, and that is where the conversation changes. Because when AI only gives a bad answer, that is one kind of problem. But when AI can take a bad action, now we are in a whole different neighborhood. That is not just, oops, the summary was wrong. That is, who deleted the email system and why is everyone looking at the intern? Here's what happened during the test. Some agents leaked sensitive information. Some shared things they should not have shared. Some followed instructions from people who were not supposed to be in charge. Some took actions that damaged or disrupted systems. Some burned through resources because they got stuck in loops. And some claimed tasks were complete when they absolutely were not. Now let's pause right there because that last one sounds familiar, doesn't it? That's not just an AI problem. That's also a project status meeting on a Friday afternoon problem. You know the energy? Yep, we're on track. Meanwhile, the deliverable is somewhere in witness protection. But with AI agents, the issue moves faster, much faster, because these systems do not need lunch breaks. They do not get tired. They do not stop to say, wait a minute, this feels wrong, unless we design them to stop. And that is the point. Here's why this matters. Companies are racing toward AI agents because the promise is huge. And I get it. AI can save time. It can reduce busy work. It can help teams move faster. It can support research, planning, writing, reporting, and decision making. I use AI. I teach AI. I believe AI can be incredibly helpful. So this is not an anti-AI conversation. This is a grown folks conversation because tools this powerful need boundaries. You would not give a brand new employee full access to finance, HR, legal files, customer records, and production systems on day one. At least I hope not. And if you would, we need a different meeting. So why would we give an AI agent broad access without asking some basic questions? What can it see? What can it change? Who can instruct it? How do we know it completed the task correctly? Who gets alerted when something looks strange? And who is accountable when it makes a mess? Those are not technical questions only. Those are leadership questions. When people talk about AI risk, the conversation sometimes gets dramatic. Robots taking over, machines running the world, some big, glowing, red-eye villain moment. But honestly, the risk may be much quieter than that. It may look like a small error, a bad instruction, a file shared with the wrong person, a workflow triggered too soon, a report that looks polished but is completely wrong, a fake message that tricks the agent, a decision made at machine speed before a human even knows there is a problem. Now multiply that across thousands or millions of agents working inside companies, supply chains, financial systems, government agencies, healthcare systems, and infrastructure. That is not one big explosion. That is 1,000 tiny sparks landing in dry grass. And if nobody is watching, well, we already know how that story ends. One of the biggest questions from this research is simple. Who controls the agent? Simple. Who controls the agent? Is it the owner? Is it the company that built it? Is it the person who gave the last instruction? Or is it the person clever enough to manipulate it? Because if someone can trick your AI assistant, they may not need to trick you. That is the part that should make everybody sit up a little straighter. If your AI assistant has access to your email, files, calendar, company documents, customer data, or financial workflows, then manipulating that assistant could become another way to manipulate your business. That means identity matters. Permissions matter. Audit trails matter. Human approval matters. And good old-fashioned common sense still matters. I know we love automation, but everything does not need to be on autopilot. Some decisions still need on the wheel. So why are companies still racing forward? Because the opportunity is massive. AI agents promise speed, efficiency, lower costs, more output, less manual work, and let's be honest, profit. There is a lot of money on the table. Companies are not just looking at AI as a cute little chatbot subscription. They are looking at AI as a way to change how work gets done. And that is exactly why we need to pay attention. Because once a tool starts changing work, data, jobs, decisions, and systems, it is no longer just a tool. It becomes part of the operating model. And as a project manager, consultant, and someone who has spent years watching organizations try to implement change, let me tell you, the tool is rarely the whole problem. The real issue is usually the rollout. Who planned it? Who tested it? Who trained people? Who checked the risks? Who created the controls? Who monitored the results? Because we bought the software is not a strategy. That is a receipt. Think back to when aviation became a thing. Planes did not become safer because people said, just launch them and see what happens. No, they tested. They inspected. They created standards. They used checklists. They studied failures. They built accountability into the system. AI needs that same energy, not panic, not fear, not everybody run for the hills, but thoughtful adoption, responsible testing, clear limits, real oversight, because innovation without guardrails is not bold. It is messy and sometimes expensive and sometimes dangerous. So what do we do with all of this? First, stop treating AI agents like fancy productivity toys. They are not just digital assistants with cute names. If they can take action, they need governance. Second, question blind automation. Before giving an AI agent access to anything, ask, does it need this access? What is the risk if it gets this wrong? Can it undo the action? Does a human need to approve this step? Can we track what happened? Third, test before scaling. A pilot is not a decoration. It is where you find the cracks before the whole wall starts leaning. Fourth, keep humans involved in high impact decisions. Money, safety, legal issues, customer trust, employment decisions, healthcare, infrastructure. Those are not places where we need to be cute with automation. And fifth, talk about the risks openly, because silence is not a strategy. It is just a comfortable chair in the waiting room before the mess shows up. Here's what I land. AI is powerful, and I do believe it can help us do amazing things. It can help us work smarter, plan better, communicate faster, create more, research deeper, and reduce some of the busy work that eats up our day like a raccoon in a trash can. But power needs responsibility. Speed needs steering. And automation needs accountability. The future will not be shaped by code alone. It will be shaped by the people who ask better questions, people who demand safer systems, people who understand that progress is not just about moving fast. It is about moving wisely. So before we hand AI agents the keys to our systems, our data, our workflows, and eventually bigger parts of our economy, we need to ask one simple question. What should AI be allowed to do without us? Because once an AI agent can act on our behalf, the question is no longer just, what did it say? The question becomes, what did it do? And that is a question worth paying attention to. Before you scroll to the next video, please do me a big favor and subscribe. I'm breaking down AI, project management, leadership, and the future of work in a way real people can actually understand and use. And with everything changing this fast, this is not the channel you want to discover 6 months late. So hit subscribe, stay close, and let's keep making sense of this new world together with clear eyes, common sense, and just enough side eye to stay safe.